Hey, everybody, it's Ron Johnson, and this is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. Hey, it's a great Tuesday. Why? It's time to roll the boat, people. Yeah, the Gophers got Wisconsin, but Max Brosmer, I think I might need to bring my oar on Sunday morning. We'll talk about all that and much more coming up next on the Ron Johnson Show.
Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcasts. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. Now the Ron Johnson Show. On the field, in the broadcast booth, Ron Johnson is Minnesota sports. He's played with them, hung out with them, and grown up with all the big names in Minnesota sports. They're hanging out with Ron Johnson. It's the Ron Johnson Show on the Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast. And it starts now.
Hey, everybody, it's Ron Johnson, and this is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcast Network, the #1 podcast network. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today, those watching on Amazon, Fire, Roku devices, YouTube. I hope you're watching on YouTube. That's the best place to catch all of the hand gestures, all of the motions, all the tinfoil hats. Not on this show, though. We don't tinfoil it here. We'll leave that to Luke Braun over there at Locked On Sports Minnesota. But I want everybody to know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Just download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. And remember, pick the easy ones. That's the easiest way to win your first $5 bet. And Ohio State. But I don't know if this is the Ohio State week. Michigan's had their number the last couple of years, but I still might take Ohio State over Michigan because Michigan is not that good. But today's show, we're going to talk J.J. McCarthy, speaking of Michigan. We're going to talk Max Brosmer, speaking of Minnesota. It's Badger week. I mean, can we get the axe? Can we bring it back? Because I'm bringing my oar. What are you bringing? I hope, because we know it's Thanksgiving week too. So this is a loaded week, people, and I want to thank everybody for joining me as I bring my producer into the show, my co-host, Sam Ekstrom. Sam, it's a busy week. You got Christmas probably going up for some people, decorations. You got turkeys. You got greens, yams, potatoes, tomatoes. You got it all. You got all the fixings. You got pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie, whichever one you like. Just like it, people. You got a good yam, but you got Michigan, Ohio State, man. You got Minnesota, Wisconsin. For a kid from Detroit that went to Minnesota, Sam, this is like one of the best Saturdays and Sundays. You got Max Brosmer, Gophers quarterback, heading out west to say, Sam Darnold, we don't miss you anymore. Because I think J.J. McCarthy versus Sam Darnold was going to be kind of a like ex-girlfriend sees your new girlfriend and they're like, that's who you are dating now? Okay. I don't feel so bad anymore. But Max Brosmer might show up, Sam. Here's the thing about people like Max Brosmer, right? This is one of those casino situations. I don't know if you've been to a casino, Sam.
A couple times.
Where you win right away, right? I've been to Vegas a couple times and I love the Wheel of Fortune slots. And 2 out of the 3 times, I'll say. 2 out of 3. One time didn't work. But 2 out of the 3 times, I go to the Wheel of Fortune slot at some point when we first get there, whether it's I go to the room, drop my stuff off, come back. When I did a couple big, Pac-10 at the time, Mountain West games out there. Because they keep changing all these conferences. I don't even know what they are now. But did a couple games out there, Nevada, Fresno State. Trying to think who else we did. New Mexico, I think, is one of them, or the Lobos, New Mexico State, or I don't remember. One or two. But I did a couple games out there. Cal, I don't know who they were a part of at the time. I don't know who's what conferences anymore. It's so dumb with all these changes. But I did some games out there. And Sam, I went to slots right away. Boom, won like $800. Did a little roulette. Put money down. Turned $100 into $1,600, Sam. So at that point, right, I'm like, this is house money. This is not my money. This ain't my money. This $2,400, this is not mine. Well, 23 of it is not mine. 100 of it was mine to start. But that other 2,300, that's not mine. So now I'm out there just having fun, right? Just in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to lose more than like $400 or $500 of the money I've won because that's not my $400 or $500. If I can get more, great. That's where Max Brosmer is right now, Sam. He's playing with house money. One, we don't know if he's going to start, right? So this is all speculation. This is all hope and wish. This is all the world of media and everybody, every Gopher fan, every media member. Sam, I've never seen so many Max Brosmer breakdowns or so many J.J. McCarthy film studies in my life on a Monday night, Sam. I don't know if you scoured the Twitter sphere, the X sphere.
It's crazy.
Everybody had some, like me and you had it first. Let's be real. We had it first. We were covering them first. We were talking about them during the offseason. One, because I'm a Gopher, right? So I had an what is it called? An invested interest. Nobody else did. Everybody else just kind of made mention of him when he came into the games. But now everybody's posting their little snippets here and there. Kevin O'Connell said Max Brosmer is really smart. Kevin O'Connell said Max Brosmer has a really good handle on the offensive playbook. Max Brosmer is really in J.J. McCarthy's ear trying to help him be the best quarterback he can be. He's going to be a great number 3. Because remember, that was the original conversation in the offseason was he's going to beat out Rippin. That was it. He was beating out Rippin. That was the goal. It was B3, be on practice squad, just be a great guy, you know, get the scout team ready to go. You know, you're going to play everybody else's quarterback. You're going to play you're going to play Sam Darnold. You're going to play Joey Burrow for us. You're going to play, you know, whoever. You're going to play Lamar Jackson this week. Like, that's what Max Brosmer's role was supposed to be. Now, he's potentially the starter. If all goes to plan, J.J. McCarthy's concussion, you know, even if he's cleared on Saturday, if he hasn't touched a football in 6 days, do you put him out there against that Seattle defense?
Right. You can't.
And that's where I go with that, Sam. Do you, because everybody's saying he has to get clear, which by the rules, from the time the concussion was identified, meaning if they had identified it during the game, right, it speeds up that window. It's identified, he's out, helmet taken, boom, start the clock now. They technically didn't really identify it till Monday, right? So Monday is where the window starts, which that means Saturday. So he's going to be a DMP probably on Wednesday. He's going to be a DMP on Thursday. He's potentially going to be a limited on Friday. And then Saturday, he's going to go through the final walkthrough where they have to decide, right? Remember Lamar Jackson? NFL was pissed off about that. Lamar Jackson was listed as was he listed as limited or anything? What was that whole brouhaha with Lamar Jackson? I can't remember.
Right. Yeah, no, I do. I think, and then he was downgraded on Saturday
to
doubtful or out. Yeah.
Yeah, because they I think all week they had him as potentially like limited or something, or not limited, or maybe they had him as full participant, and then he was out. And that's maybe what it was. The bettors were mad, or vice versa. They had him as limited, and then they had him as in. Either way, 6-7, as the kids would say. They were not happy with the way the Ravens did it, and they're under investigation, and they're looking at potential fines. And the only reason there's fines, Sam, because as a coach, college football never had an injury report. So you had to prepare for everybody on the team. The NFL's more mad about the bettors. Let's be real. They put betting houses inside of stadiums now. Like you can go, like I think FanDuel and some other ones have a sports book inside, like the Falcon Stadium, I'm pretty sure, and the Raiders Stadium have a sports book in the stadium. So that's where the NFL's mad. They're like, you got our people out here betting against the Ravens because we thought Lamar Jackson wasn't going to play. And he's playing? And somebody else said, like, the only reason you have to be downgraded is if you do, like, a certain percentage of plays that a starter normally would get. So J.J. McCarthy is going to be limited if do not participate. He might not do not participate all week. Let's be real. He might be a DMP all the way up till Saturday. Even Sunday, the flight, right? So if he's having nausea, symptoms, like serious, because let's be real. We did see him get up woozy. We did see him rip a salt. You know, he took a whiff of something to kind of get it. Whoa, okay, I'm back. I'm good. Right? But something wasn't right. So that's a real thing. Do you then say, let's go fly you out to Seattle? Or do you let him just let his brain rest here? Because here's the question is he going to be cleared like Dillon Gabriel? Dillon Gabriel's cleared, and Shedeur is still the starter. Do you clear him just in case Max gets hurt? and then J.J. has to go in. Because that's the question now. Like, is J.J. McCarthy now the backup to Max Brosmer just in case? Just like he was the backup to Carson Wentz, and we saw him jumping around on the sideline just fine. Is this another soft benching? Is this another, you're not quite ready yet, your mechanics aren't there? I'm seeing J.J. McCarthy combine video. Did you see that one resurface where he's airmailing those balls?
Where he's kind of airmailing dudes.
Out routes. He's airmailing out routes, which is the same elevation, ball too high issues. So I go with this, Sam. With all the stuff we're seeing, all the people that are dumping on J.J. McCarthy, all the stuff, this is my take, right? J.J. McCarthy does airmail balls. We've seen that. Is that something that can be fixed? I don't know, right? Some pitchers just don't have the command. I forgot to tell you this, Sam. I got a chance to hang out with, Louis Varner? Or what's his name?
Varlin?
Dude, pitch for the
Varlin.
for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, Twins and Blue Jays this year. Yep.
Yeah. Just threw in the World
Louis
Series
Varlin.
against Ohtani, 100 miles an hour pitcher. Yeah, so I got a chance to hang out with him this weekend. And he and I were talking, because of course my daughter's softball. We were talking baseball and, why he wasn't recruited by the Gophers. Went to Concordia St. Paul. And I'm asking him about command and there was another guy, I forgot his name, Cody maybe. He's another pitcher for them, lefty, tall.
Funderburk?
For the Twins.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cody
Is that his name?
Funderburk?
Yeah, long dark hair.
I think so.
And I was asking him too. I'm like, hey, do you ever throw to your wife? Like, would you pitch to her in the box just to? Because he said he's like 96. He's like, man, I didn't have enough command to do that. I'd be scared I'd hit my wife. So sometimes, and he's honest. Sometimes guys just don't have command of the ball, right? You got to work your way up. Like Louis was saying, I'm a reliever right now. I'm not a closer. He's like, my goal is to be a closer. I can hit 100 miles an hour. He pitched like he had a record for relievers in the World Series. He faced Ohtani, didn't give up a home run. He said he gave up like 2 singles, and he felt like that was a win, which I'm guessing that is a win against Ohtani. He said he struck an Ohtani out before. And so you think about all that, right? Working up to it. He was 85 miles an hour coming out of high school. Wasn't good enough for the Gophers. Went to Concordia St. Paul, got stronger, faster. Now he's a 100-mile-an-hour pitcher. It might not be over for J.J. McCarthy, but maybe he isn't that young rookie pitcher, using the pitcher analogy. Sorry, since everybody wants to do that. He's throwing fastballs. He's not throwing changeups. He's not having a 2-ball. He has a 1-ball. Maybe he's just not ready yet. Like, if you have to change his neurological pathways, maybe it's just time to do it. Like if Max Brosmer can be your Brock Purdy, and not Brock Purdy of last night, but if Max Brosmer can be your Brock Purdy, I don't know if you saw it, Sam, like within the span of like 10 minutes of me watching the game, he threw 2 picks. It was pretty bad. And it wasn't his fault on some of them, though. It was just a bad play design. And so that's where I go with this. Kevin O'Connell's play design might not fit J.J. McCarthy, right? He was successful at Michigan. Why? Because they ran the ball, and then they threw the ball every once in a while. That doesn't work here because you have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and T.J. Hockenson. So you have to kind of find a quarterback who can sling that thing. You know who can sling that thing? Max Brosmer. Like I talked about it. He threw for 300-plus yards against Rhode Island. Granted, it's Rhode Island. But when I watched him do that, and I literally tweeted it out because I found the tweet, I'm like, PJ Fleck needs to go NASCAR offense next week with Max Brosmer because clearly when he spreads 3 receivers, 4 receivers out, he can quickly decide who he's going to with the ball. That's what Kevin O'Connell wants. He wants a quick, decisive quarterback that decides, here's where I'm going and here's why after the snap. J.J. McCarthy is one of the best quarterbacks he said he's seen pre-snap. But what about post-snap? That's where we need him to be. Well, I don't care about your pre-snap. If you don't always get out of the best play, what do you make with the play that you have, right? You kind of have to have both. You can't be a great pre-snap and a bad post-snap. You can't be a bad pre-snap and a good post-snap. You have to, except for Michael Vick, right? Michael Vick told us, I never watched film. I never studied. He was just a freak athlete that could run around, make plays, and make it happen. But Sam, if you're the Minnesota Vikings and you're Kevin O'Connell right now, so Tuesday, day off, you're chilling, are you just saying, I'm Max Brosmer because I don't even want to do this in Seattle with JJ?
I don't think that J.J. McCarthy has performed great when he's had a full week of practice.
Right.
I'm concerned what would happen if he had almost no practice.
Yeah.
We heard Kevin O'Connell talk about this after his injury. He said J.J. just needs practice time. And I haven't seen a lot of guys with concussions come back the following week. If it's a legit concussion, the Vikings usually sit them for 1 week, unless the concussion was misdiagnosed or the symptoms don't last into the next day. They're almost always out a week. So it feels like a perfect opportunity to give Max Brosmer a very low pressure opportunity, Ron. The playoffs are probably dead. You don't have the pressure of playoffs. Mm-hmm. You don't have the pressure of being a top 10 draft pick. You're playing with house money. Mm-hmm. Right now, Max Brosmer is Ron Johnson running around with $2,300 in his pocket. The bar to clear is nothing. Mm-hmm. The expectation is nothing. Brosmer can just go out there and let it rip. I think this is why Brock Purdy worked so well, right? Yeah. Like Brock Purdy came in, no expectations, no pressure, no nothing, and he ran the table for the 49ers when they thought Trey Lance was going to be their guy. They thought Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be their guy. Well, McCarthy is Lance. Wentz is Garoppolo. Brosmer is Purdy. Maybe he can run the table.
And here's the thing. The bar, like you said, the bar is so low. Here's where I look at if he does this, right? If he does this is extremely low bar, but I feel like he can do it, right? 16 for 23, right? That's 69%. Okay. 16 for 23. Not sexy. Doesn't have to be glamorous. 16 for 23. So you're not throwing the ball 35, 40 times. Just be consistent on the throws you make, right? 16 for 23. Out of those, we know there's probably 1 or 2 deep balls that he wants to show off that he still can call these plays because he's done it with every backup, Josh Dobbs, everybody. He's giving everybody a chance to throw deep balls, right? It's not like Kevin O'Connell's going to change because of the quarterback. He's still going to be him. A tiger can't change his stripes, right? You're a tiger. You can grow your hair out. You're still not a lion. You're a tiger. And that's what Kevin O'Connell's going to do. 16 for 23. 220 yards, 225. Very, very modest, very low. Just 7 to 8 yards a play, a throw, and then, maybe 2 or 3 explosives to get you up in that 225. 1 or 2 touchdowns. Just don't throw interceptions, right? You still might take 1 or 2 sacks. But I feel like Max does a pretty good job of getting the ball out of his hands. I looked at a couple plays last night. I got to turn in my film study stuff. I'm doing our old guy, Sam Darnold, right? I get to do some Sam Darnold film this week. I'm looking forward to that. I was told, though, to be careful in the comparison, right? Don't show Sam Darnold film and make Vikings fans watch game day because it's at 2:00 this week since it's Thanksgiving. It's the holiday. It's an afternoon game. So everybody who's watching the Vikings game because they're on the road. So we have way more viewers. That's the one thing I love being at the stadium, but the viewership is way up when they're on the road because everybody has to be home watching the game. So you get more eyes, you get more bars on the pregame show with it being a 2:00 game, 2:00 show, 3:00. So they're like, be careful in how you word it, right? I'm doing more of a Sam Darnold still show signs of Sam Darnold, right? I'm going to show some ghost plays. I have to. Give Brian Flores some hope. But I'm going to show some absolute daggers because Jackson Smith and Jigba is pretty sexy when the ball's in the air. It's a beautiful thing to watch him run routes and watch him find open zone holes. And you know who runs zone a lot? The Minnesota Vikings. They love to drop back in that zone. And that's where Jackson Smith and Jigba's been like feasting. So maybe we'll see a different Brian Flores because everybody keeps asking that. Like, I think I just saw somebody said to blitz or not to blitz, right? I think that was Ben Lieber. To blitz or not to blitz. Like, is that going to happen? Like, is he going to try to make Sam Darnold see ghosts? That's going to be, I think that's another storyline. Sam Darnold's first time again against Brian Flores. Does he dice him up because he's practiced with him? He knows what he's looking for, or do they know? Like, does Kevin O'Connell know where Sam Darnold lacks? And is Brian Flores going to take advantage of it? Getting off of the J.J. McCarthy topic, moving on. People, if you haven't noticed that's called a transition. We're moving on because, we can beat a dead horse all day. End of the day, it looks like Max Brosmer should be the starter. But Sam, going into the Sam Darnold stuff, right, as we're doing the pregame show, I want to switch gears on that. Does Brian Flores know enough about Sam Darnold, or does Sam Darnold know enough about Brian Flores? Like, who comes out on top?
Yeah, I feel like the Flores knowledge of Darnold is pretty helpful, but this is also a little bit of a different schematic team. There are some serious weapons over there. I think if it's a good Darnold day, it's going to be tough to stop him. But we've seen, like, sometimes from the first quarter on, he's got a little bit of a deer in the headlights look. He had it against the Rams. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago, where he threw 4 picks? So if that version of Darnold comes out, maybe trying to do too much against his former team, then I think you can fluster him. I think that you know that getting pressure in Darnold's lap, good things will happen for you. You force him to run around, you force him to backtrack, you force him to make some throws under pressure, good things will happen to you. I don't know if the defense has a great mojo right now. I don't love the defensive energy, Ron. They're not stopping the run at all. They're getting run down in second halves because they're on the field so much. Their time of possession is so poor offensively that this defense just looks tired, Ron. They look lifeless to me. I don't feel like there's not a lot of 3-and-outs being produced. No takeaways at all. It's been a rough stretch. So I'm very excited to watch Brosmer. I'm nervous to watch the Vikings defense against JSN, Darnold, and Seattle. I think that could get lopsided.
Yeah, and here's the crazy thing, right? So for the Vikings defense, the things that require turnovers, and like you said, you hit the nail on the head with the Rams. Sam Darnold right now, when you think about quarterback play, right? So quarterbacks are judged on a few things, right? Wins, touchdowns, interceptions, QBR, passer rating. Sam Darnold is 6th in the NFL in QBR, right? So passer rating can be manipulated because you could throw a ton of touchdowns, have a ton of errors. But he's kind of balanced. Like QBR, he's 6th. Passer rating, he's 5th. Like almost 2,800 yards, 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. The 10 interceptions, like you said, the Rams game was kind of a jump up. But here's the one thing that I think that people, the sneaky underlying, like, not notice, and this is where Brian Flores has to figure this out. Sam Darnold doesn't take a lot of sacks. Like, he's pretty good at getting rid of the ball. He's willing to dump it off to his weapons, and his offensive line does a pretty decent job, I'm guessing, of sifting the blitz. Like, they're figuring it out because 35th most, right? He's been sacked the 35th most amount of times, which means there's 34 other quarterbacks this season that have been sacked more times than Sam Darnold. Sam, there's only 32 teams. So meaning some of these teams have multiple quarterbacks sacked more times than Sam Darnold. Like, just think about that, Sam. 35 times. 35th most sacks. So like Cam Ward is at 46, 45 sacks. Sam Darnold's at 11. 11 sacks. The 35th most. And Carson Wentz, right, played less than half the games. He's played 5 games. He's had 19 sacks in 5 games. Sam Darnold's had 11 sacks in 11 games.
Man.
1 sack a game is what they're giving up pretty much right now. They're averaging 1 sack a game. 11 games, 11 sacks. Cam Ward, 11 games, 45 sacks. Like, that's a lot. He's headed towards the 60-plus sack range, which I don't know what the record is for sacks in the season, but he's headed there. Geno Smith as well. Like, people are, like, the Raiders talking crap about Geno Smith's been sacked 41 times. So all you Raider haters, like, it's not just Geno Smith. Like, they're giving up a ton of sacks. Josh Allen, he's in the 28 sack range. It's a huge drop, too. After the 46 or 41, then it kind of drops down into the 20s. Herbert and May are in the 30s. But there are 35 quarterbacks, right? 34 with less sacks than him. 34. I don't even know I didn't even look to see what J.J. McCarthy, like how many sacks he's taken. Oh, there it is. 20. 20 sacks in 6 games for him. The Vikings have given up. So here's the thing. It's spread out over 2 quarterbacks, so it doesn't look bad, right? You see Cam Ward at 46, and you're like, 45, you're like, man, that offensive line sucks. If you put the 2 together, that's 39 sacks allowed, Sam. That's 3rd worst in the NFL because you got Cam Ward at 45, You got Geno Smith at 41. I know the Raiders had another quarterback come in, so I don't know what his sack total is. Drake May is at 37. Drake May's 37. The Vikings are 39. So we know the Patriots are third, at least, right now on this list as far as quarterbacks go. 39 given up by the offensive line. So again, we can hate on J.J. McCarthy. People can say, but the offensive line is giving up 39 sacks. So I wonder that too. Is that scheme? Is that play calling? Is this Kevin O'Connell? Like, how do they fix this? I don't know the answer to that, Sam, but I do know this. 11 sacks in 11 games is pretty darn good for that offensive line, that offense. And it has something to do with Sam Darnold, I'm guessing, making the right decision, not holding on to the ball too long. We could go all day about this because there's J.J. McCarthy's time to throw. I don't know if you saw that. 3.16 seconds.
It's a long time.
He's number 2. Caleb Williams, 3.29. He's number 1. Caleb Williams holds on to the ball, but he's running around and then making a play. J.J. McCarthy holds on to the ball, and he's missing the tight end on a shallow route, and he's taking almost a safety in the end zone at the 1-yard line. It's just differences, right? There's levels to this quarterback thing. But speaking of levels to this quarterback thing, we're going to talk a little Gophers, Wisconsin, because there's 2 different types of quarterbacks entering this game, 2 different types of coaches, 2 different types of programs, different trajectory angles. We'll talk about all that and much more coming up next on The Ron Johnson Show.
As always, The Ron Johnson Show is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers right now can get $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. We give you a lot of tips on this show, usually around college football or the NFL. It's also an official sports betting partner of the NBA over at FanDuel. You got everything at your disposal. College basketball is getting started. NHL, the Wild are red hot. You can also wager live. This is crazy. Last night, I'm watching the Timberwolves. At one point, the live FanDuel line, Wolves were minus 900, Kings were plus 520. And I thought to myself, that Kings plus 520, the way the Wolves have been in meltdown mode, that might be a pretty juicy bet. Sure enough, Kings come back and win. So you could have snagged the plus 520 live, bet 100, get 520. Not a bad investment. Or bet 10, get 52. You can bet a little, bet a lot. Whatever that, is smart for you at FanDuel.com, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Lots of live wagering options, same game parlay options. Bet 5, get 300 if the $5 bet wins at FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
We'll spend a little time before we get into the Daily 3. That's 3 questions, about 3 minutes each today. We'll spend a little time talking Gophers, right? So you got the Wisconsin Badgers walking into town. I was hoping they would come into town wounded, but they found a way to get a win. So they're riding high. Their coach got an extension. And the Gophers, on the other hand, in P.J. Fleck's 9th year, everybody's questioning what's going on with the Gophers, right? Northwestern should be a win. Kicker misses 2 field goals. That's right there. That's the game. He makes the first one. They're tied up. He makes the second one. They win. They walk off. They leave Wrigley Field like a walk-off home run. Except that walk-off home run became a walk-up deep pop out, right? Hit a big pop fly, bases loaded, 2 outs, and you're like, oh, this is gone. This is gone. And he makes the catch at the wall. By the way, talked to Louis Varlin about that too, about the guy coming in who was the center fielder. He plays center field but hadn't played all day, and he was like, they could not believe that catch was made. Like, everybody was like, what in the world?
Can you imagine? That's the World Series on the line.
And you come in and you make the play they hoped you were coming in to make. You have speed, you have size, you can cover a lot of ground. Let's see what happens. And even the guy that got ran into, he didn't even know the ball was caught. Like, he thought when they ran into each other, this is it. It's over. And nope, my teammate has the ball. And so when you think about that, right, Gophers, a little bit hurting right now. P.J. Fleck continues to say this is a developmental program. And I 100% understand what he's saying. He's saying I'm not going to jump into the portal and bring in 29 guys from the portal. Like, you can look at some teams, and they've done that. I think Indiana is one of them. I think Cignetti bought in 29 players from the portal. He also bought in a starting quarterback from Cal Mendoza, Fernando Mendoza. So, you go out, you spend, $3 million on a quarterback, you get 29 players from the portal. Is that long-term? Is that sustainable? That's where a lot of people question. Like, is this going to be a flash in the pan for Indiana? Like, are they going to do this 1 year, Fernando Mendoza leaves. Like, are they able to continue to recruit doing this? Meaning, now let's go out and get another 5-star, 4-star quarterback. Let's go out and get another, because their receiver, oh man, he's good. Go get another 4-star receiver. Like, can they keep doing it? Because we know programs like Oregon, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia. Is there anybody else you throw on this list, Sam? Could you say Texas, maybe Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean in that blue blood category for sure.
There's programs like that. I think Michigan used to be there. I don't know right now. They kind of look kind of blah. But when you think about that, those schools like Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama, Georgia, they're always going to be able to go in the portal, and they're always going to be able to get the the top 5-star, 4-star receiver out of high school, like, Jeremiah Smith and Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, imagine being Syracuse and your graduate, Marvin Harrison. You're like, oh man, he just created a beast, a walking beast. He's got to come to where he's got to follow his dad's footsteps. Nope. Syracuse has to be like, man, how can we not get our own player's son? Right? But that's just what you said, blue bloods. That's just what those helmet stickered schools do. You could maybe throw USC in there, but I don't feel like as of late they have what they used to have, but they kind of have some weapons. But Minnesota's a developmental program, meaning they're not going to be able to get 29 players out the portal with the NIL dollars they have. Like, they just don't. They need like somebody, like if I hit this Powerball, whole team purchased. If I hit this $600-something million Powerball, Sam, $50 million. I'm putting $50 million into an endowment, and we're going out there like Blue Chips, Nick Nolte, Shaq, Penny Hardaway. I'm going to get me. You probably never seen Blue Chips, have you, Sam? But if you haven't, watch it.
I haven't.
Watch Blue Chips. It's probably on Netflix or somewhere cheap. I mean, Blockbuster doesn't exist anymore, but I'm pretty sure somewhere cheap you can find it. Blue Chips. It's a great movie with Shaquille O'Neal, Nick Nolte, Penny Hardaway. They were high school players at the time. So Penny and Shaq were high school recruits, and Nick Nolte was the basketball coach. His football coach had won a championship because they paid for it. This is back when it was illegal. And the guy goes to Nick Nolte, and he's like, hey, what do you want? He's like, man, I want to win a championship. He's like, but I don't want anything to come back to me. He's like, don't worry about it. I got this. And then, of course, he goes out and buys Shaq. He buys Ricky Rowe, which I forgot his real name, but he played for the Celtics, I think. And then he bought what's his name? There also was a guy on their team that point shaved, which is so funny. Like that movie still holds true today. He point shaved and got caught because the donor guy went to the head coach and said, you think I don't have no players that, have gotten money off of me? Like, check Tony. And he didn't say what game. And so they went back and watched some games. And, Tony had point shaved in order to make a little money because the donor was rich and he probably had some friends that made some bets. And he's like, hey, man, like, I bet that he's going to have, whatever. The team's going to have 8 turnovers because he was throwing balls away. But again, to get back to my point, make sure you watch Blue Chip, Sam. PJ Fleck developmental program, they're not going out buying players. Like, they're not. They're trying to, and PJ said, and here's where I think I understand what he's trying to get to, right? In order to be sustainable for Kurt Ferentz type years, 24 years, you got to grow your program with high school players. Now, here's the other problem, though. The rest of the world isn't doing that. So where do you find that balance that the university is on board with and okay with? Because the university can't say, PJ, you can't be a developmental program and you can't go recruit high school players and then not say, hey, PJ, we're going to give you the entire $20 million, right? That $20 million that the schools give for NIL, some schools give it to just football. Some schools spread it out throughout all sports. I'm guessing Gophers, Minnesota Nice, they're spreading it out. If you're not going to give him $5 million to go buy a quarterback on the market, you can't get mad at 6-6 or 7-5, right? You have to kind of understand it's going to take time for Drake Lindsay to become a junior. It's going to take time for Jalen Smith to become a junior. It's going to take time for these offensive linemen to become juniors. Like when they become juniors, like my junior year, my sophomore year, when Glenn Mason had kind of built it up for 2 years, 3 years, we then went 8-3. Mason then built it up with Maroney and Barber, right? 8 years later, they went 10 wins, right? Those wins, Cupido became a senior. Adam Weber became a senior. Those things happen. Eric Decker became a senior or a junior. Those things happen, but you gotta take these 4-star, 3-star recruits And then Carter Mins, Carter Mins, Emmanuel Caramo. You can go down the names. All Jackson Howard transfer back in. You got to be able to grow these guys. Antoine Winfield, Carter Coughlin, those guys weren't great freshman year. They were good. Tyler Johnson was okay. Rashad Bateman, I think, was one of the freshmen that was really good. But those guys, it took time for those guys to kind of become the Tanner Morgan team that we saw, right? For Tanner Morgan to become what he became. So that's what PJ is telling guys is it's going to be ebbs and flows of this. At the end of the day, Sam, in this landscape of sports, a loss to Wisconsin and then a 6-6 bowl game, do you think the fans are getting restless?
Yes. I think a win against Northwestern would have eased it a bit, but either way, I don't know if the Northwestern or Wisconsin games had a lot of bearing on how this year was going to be perceived because they missed on all the big opportunities. They didn't show up for any of the big opportunities. So it feels like a step back. It felt like a less competitive season than a year ago with Brosmer. I think I think we like Drake Lindsey. There were high hopes for Drake Lindsey, and in some ways he's going through the growing pains that we're seeing with on the Vikings side with McCarthy, and there's hope for next year with Drake Lindsey and beyond. There's excitement there. There's a reason to be excited. But this team did not achieve the same as I think the last couple of years did. So there's definitely room for improvement, and I think fans are a little bored with the 6, 7, 8-win seasons. They want to have another 2019 with Tyler Johnson, Rashad Bateman, Antoine Winfield, Tanner Morgan. That's what they want to get back to. They got a taste of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is right now, we've seen these games, right? Javon Tracy, that was a flash in the pan. Why weren't they utilizing him all season? He transferred in and he's feeling like this year wasn't what he thought it was going to be. He made that comment, on Fox. He didn't know what it was going to be. He made that comment, I think, on his presser at ESPN and all this. everybody was there. NBC, Carol Levin, everybody's asking Javon Tracy because, the kid was a beast this last game. Where was that at? Why haven't you been utilizing him, right? But again, he's not going to bash his experience. It wasn't just the team's fault. A little bit maybe goes on him. I watched some of his routes. There wasn't a lot of separation early on in the season. PJ Fleck brought that up early in the season. There wasn't a lot of separation, X, Y, and Z, right? They don't have the weapons. They just got a JUCO, one of the top JUCO receivers committed. They just flipped a receiver from, I forgot what school he flipped from, but they just flipped one. They got a high school receiver. They got Roman Voss, who can play tight end, coming in. Tight end linebacker, but my guess is mainly tight end. You got the other kid from Penn State that decommitted from Penn State. Maybe he will become a Gopher. Because I don't understand why kids don't understand. You can have 2 really good tight ends. You can have a double tight end system. Iowa has done it. It works. You can have 2 tight ends and 1 or 2 receivers, on the field. Literally. I don't know why people don't understand that. Just because Voss committed doesn't mean you need to go to Penn State. It makes no sense. You come here too. Both of you be tight ends. There's a 2 tight end system where you go 2 tight, 2 receiver, 1 running back. One of you motion back becomes the lead blocker. Both of you run routes on play action. Both of you block on the run game, front side, back side. When you motion over, you double block. There's a ton of things you could do with 2 really good tight ends, right? But my guess is at the tight end position, as a freshman out of high school, it's going to be tough to block a 275-pound DN. Who's 25 because he's a 7th-year senior, right? There's growing pains with these young guys. And that's the problem with social media, right? When I played, I didn't have to tell everybody how I was doing. Now these kids I see kids post pictures, Sam, in the locker room. I've seen kids post pictures during warm-ups. Sam, that same kids, that post those warm-up pictures, practice pictures, locker room pictures with headphones on and beats, and I'm locked in. Guess how many snaps they got during the game? 0.
Probably that many.
0. Guess how many catches they had? 0. And I'll tell you who it is. I'm not going to say the name on air, Sam. I'll talk to you after. But it's crazy, right? When I see kids do that, I'm like, and then friends comment, oh, that's him. He's him. How is he him? He's sitting in the locker room. He hasn't played all season. But that's the problem. And so then when that doesn't work out and I'm not getting in, I want to transfer. I'm out of here. I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to go to a D2. I'm going to go to a lower level D1 program and play, which is fine. But some kids are like, dude, you're a freshman. Maybe give it a year or two. It's okay. I wish, honestly, like I started as a freshman. I kind of wish I redshirted. Only reason is because then I would have got smarter, faster, stronger, and older, right? Instead of being 18 out there going against 22-year-old corners. I went to Ohio State as a freshman and had to play against Antoine Winfield Sr. I have a picture of it somewhere. He hit me. I caught the ball. Like I jumped over his head. I got to find that too. That's a cool picture. It's like me and Antoine Winfield Sr. But I caught a ball on the sideline, Sam. I jumped and I'm over him, right? The picture's great. The video, as I'm coming down, he times it up and hits me, Sam. I fly into like a water bucket on the sideline. Like he hit me out of bounds probably. I had to flown 7-8 yards because my momentum was taking me that way anyway. I ran a comeback and my momentum was taking me out anyway. And he just, boom, hit me. I got one foot in, though. It was a catch. But I flew. And that was my like, okay, these dudes are serious. And then I remember Andy Katzenmoyer. I don't know if you remember Andy Katzenmoyer, Sam, linebacker.
Yeah, linebacker.
Yeah, he was one of the best in the country. Tough guy, Mohawk. He hit me so hard on a slant. I learned my lesson not to spin anymore. I caught a slant on either Gary Berry or Antoine Winfield. I'm 18. I'm like, oh, I just caught a slant at the Horseshoe. I remember I had just gone to Ohio State on my recruiting visit because Eddie George, or maybe my 11th grade year, Eddie George, they were playing Washington. It was Ohio State, Washington. I went out there. Boom. I'm like, man, I remember being here. I'm here playing now in the Horseshoe. Spun, missed one guy. Spun again, whap. Right? 18-year-olds against 22-year-olds, it's not fair sometimes. I'll never forget that because I got hit. I was fine. But then another receiver got hit and his back was hurt. Our third receiver looked over and told the equipment manager, bring a rib cage. He saw my hit. He saw the next receiver. He's like, oh, no, coach. He's like, hey, I need a rib cage. He's like, he was dead. And I'm Sam, when I'm not joking. He was dead serious. He wanted either a back plate or rib cage because those linebackers and DBs, Ohio State at the time, by the way, people, had the number one defense in the country. So we had no chance of beating them my freshman year. We didn't. Now, 3 years later, we went back there and won. But my freshman year, no shot. I think we lost I'd have to look it up, 45 to something probably. 45 to 19, 45-17, who knows. But they had a bunch of first-round picks, Antoine Winfield, Gary Berry, Nayal Diggs, Katzenmoyer. Like, I can probably go on the offensive line and find some guys, too. I don't know if Orlando Pace was still there at that time or not, but, first-round picks after first-round picks. And when you think about the Gophers, right, it's tough without NIL dollars. And that's where PJ Fleck is trying to say. So, in closing, before we get to the Daily 3, Sam, when you look at this, like, does a win against Wisconsin, getting the axe, everybody feels good, going to bowl game, do you think that's going to be enough for Gopher fans?
I think it'll feel good going into the bowl season. And, honestly, a bowl game they'll probably win because that's what they do. They win bowl games.
All they do is win no matter what.
They could have an 8-win season. And that'll add another 8-win season to PJ Fleck's count. I think those that care a lot and follow it very closely will maybe see through that total and say, we at least need to get to a point in this new Big Ten where we can play with and compete with and keep it close with some of the elites. Mm-hmm. Because it's kind of a hopeless feeling to say, is our ceiling 8 wins? Is that as high as we can possibly go? I think fans want more than that. So it'll feel good to get a trophy. But also Wisconsin, we didn't really talk about this. Wisconsin is just not a good team.
No.
So it's not going to feel the same way as like a big upset or an evenly matched game. You're expected to win this game.
It feels like a lose-lose. Like if you win a close game against Wisconsin, people are going to be like, really? If you beat Wisconsin, if you lose to Wisconsin, people are going to be like, oh my God. Like you really just have to blow them out. I think that's the only way to finish the season is blowing out the Badgers to where everybody's comfortable and nobody has to stay and wait to rush the field for the axe. It's kind of like, okay, let's go to Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go somewhere and eat. We can watch the rest of this game from home. Like that's my hope. I'm hoping it's so blown out that I can leave and get ready for the post-game show without sitting there biting my nails. Like I love not having to bite my nails. Getting like the Northwestern game, so annoying. Me and Luke are sitting there waiting, missed field goal. and now I got to do a show and I'm pissed off. Like that's I don't want that feeling. I want to have the champagne. I want to have the old fashioned. I want to have a cigar. Hopefully it's not cold out so I can go outside and smoke my cigar after my win again. I love a good cigar after a Wisconsin win. Walk up and down the street because my neighbor down the street has he flies the W. So I can't wait to walk by his house with this on, smoking a cigar. Maybe I'll have a speaker playing the Rouser. My other neighbor as well, 4 or 5 houses down, they're Badgers too. They're from Wisconsin, so they have the Wisconsin stuff in their yard. So, yeah, I will for sure be blowing smoke if we win with the speaker rolling down the street. I have a really big one too that can get loud, playing the Gopher Rouser. If we lose, Sam, I'm locking the doors, turning the lights off, and I'll see you guys on Sunday afternoon. For the Vikings Seattle game. And we're not going to talk about this. If we win, pregame, Vikings, I'm showing up with the or, because it would just be perfect. Beat the Badgers. I can show up with the or and then still talk Max Brosmer in the pregame show. Like, it's just be so much fun. So much fun. But we got to get to the Daily 3. It's going to be quick today, about a minute each. And we'll be back after a quick pause. And now it's time for the Daily 3. That's 3 questions, about a minute each a day. Take it away, Sam.
Well, Ron, I don't know if you've been following closely, but the Wolves have been collapsing the last 2 games. They blew an 8-point lead in the final minute against Phoenix and lost. And last night, they blew a 10-point lead against Sacramento in the final 3 minutes and lost. And the Wolves, up to that point, had not lost a game against a losing team. That has changed now. They lose to a 4-13 Kings team last night. So 2 straight collapses. The Wolves, it feels pretty negative right now. I know we're still early in the season, but what are you taking away from this recent trend?
Yeah, make your free throws, right? So let's go to the Arizona game, Phoenix game. Sorry, not Arizona, Phoenix.
Yeah.
You got to make your free throws, right? You could talk all you want about superstardom. You could talk all you want about, calls didn't go your way. You can say, at the end of the day, make your free throw. You make your free throws, you win that game. 49 seconds, I think, is exactly what it was, up 8 in the fourth quarter, and you lose that game. That's one of those where you just got to make your free throws. And then after that, it becomes doubt. Is there any doubt now in that locker room? Is anybody kind of wondering, is it time to maybe get rid of some of these older guys and bring in some younger, blood? Is it like, because the trade, we know the trade deadline is going to come up somewhere in the season, and that's going to be the conversation is, do they make a blockbuster trade to help Anthony Edwards out? Does Anthony Edwards need another guy? Does he need a true Robin to his Batman? Can, like Jordan has Scottie Pippen. Is there, Sam, in your opinion, is there a Scottie Pippen there right now?
I mean, the number 2 guy is Julius Randle, and Julius Randle's not Scottie Pippen.
And that's my point.
That's what they're trying to get out of him, is that number 2 type scoring.
Like LeBron had Dwayne Wade. Do you see a Dwayne Wade? Or is Anthony Edwards Dwayne Wade? Does he need a LeBron? Like a lot of these teams, Steph Curry had a Klay Thompson. Like, where is that second person that's consistent? Not because Julius Randle, we know, can give you buckets, but there's no consistency. But down the stretch, honestly, Sam, I got to say it's coaching. Like, there's got to be something to the coaching in that. Like, are you too laxed in that moment? Like, being up 8, being up 10, are you so lax that your team felt that, right? Anytime I see a baseball or softball team give up a big lead, I always look to the coaching. Like, what did you do in those moments? Did you start subbing guys out? Did you start pitching guys to random batters and not sticking to the analytics of this is what we need to do down the stretch? I got to look at all that. I don't know. What do you take from it?
The coaching is a valid point. In both games, Chris Finch needed to stop the bleeding and call timeout. Right. Last night he let the Wolves play through it, and they were frazzled. They were turning the ball over, bad offensive possessions, quick, low quality shots. They just needed someone to calm them down and run something set. Anthony Edwards, who was great for 3.5 quarters last night, also went hero ball. When Ant goes hero ball, it usually, great things can happen and terrible things can happen, but right. he wasn't in the flow at all. He was forcing shots. Sometimes they went in this critical point. They were not going in. can't have it. You got to have some direction offensively, and that's why a timeout by Finch in those spots can get you organized. Remind them, hey, get a few passes, make a back cut, set a screen. We don't need a heave 3 by Ant here. We just need a long possession that ends in a high-quality shot around the rim. That's all you need. Draw a foul. Just dumb offensive basketball is what I'm pointing to.
Yeah, that's the key. I think it's coaching, like you said. Timeouts are vital, and coaches need to know when to help their players out. What you got next?
Yeah, I think we gotta ask this question again. Now that the Bears have beaten the Vikings, they beat the Steelers last week. They're 8-3. Are the Bears for real, Ron, as the NFC North leaders?
Yes, they are. I mean, here's the thing. Ben Johnson, the things he's doing offensively for the Bears, he did it for the Lions. He's running the ball when he needs to, and then his quarterback, he's giving them enough plays out of the pocket as well as in the pocket where the defensive line can't really figure out where he's at. And then Caleb Williams is magical, right? There's a couple times the Vikings had him dead to rights on sacks, and he Houdini'd it, got out of it. Like, I wonder, I know there's no stat for quarterbacks after contact, like a true stat of like how many yards or what was the play after he was touched or after he made like the EPA on the sack, the expected output or whatever on a sack would have been negative 11 yards, but he turned it into a 20-yard positivity. You know, I wonder what that is for him. I feel like his number is one of the highest. Like, he has been dead to rights numerous times in games I watched. And early on in the season, he did some weird stuff like, you know, trying to Patrick Mahomes it and lay out and throw the ball and ends up being a intentional grounding, or he tries to throw from his back foot and he throws an interception. But recently, he's been playing pretty darn good. And so, yeah, I got to say they're for real. And it's going to be tough when you think about this for the Vikings moving forward. The fact that the Bears are now good, the Packers are good. I mean, the Lions are good. The Vikings could be in the basement for a while if they don't figure this out.
Yeah, no question. I still would want to see a little more from the Bears. They have a hard time blowing teams away. They kind of mess around with inferior teams. They're not winning convincingly. They are winning. And I think that this is the 2022 Vikings. It speaks to Ben Johnson being a good situational coach. He gets them in good spots late in games. That's kind of the first step. You get worried, Ron, that the Bears are on a Lions trajectory and that they get to a Lions-like level of coaching and continuity and offensive firepower. Like, imagine if the Lions and the Bears and the Packers are in this division all playing that well. That Packers defense we just saw, that could be a scary NFC North for years to come. Last one on the Daily 3. Ron, I want to know what's on the Thanksgiving menu for you on Thursday.
Oh, man. I mean, I'm from Detroit. I play for the Ravens, the NFC North Bears, and then you got just, you know, the only thing probably not on my menu is Chiefs-Cowboys. I don't really care about that game. I mean, it's going to be fun because you got Brevin Spann forward, so I'll check my guy out. But, I mean, could they have not picked a better group of teams for this? You know, the Bengals and the Ravens, still a rivalry. You got the Packers, and it sounds like Joe Burrow might be coming back. You got the Packers-Lions. That's, you know, divisional first place fight. So that's going to be a great one. I think that's the best one. But then the one on Friday, like Black Friday, Bears, Eagles, that potentially tells you who the Bears are. You just asked that question. This might, like, if they go out there and they keep it close even, or even handle the Eagles. Because, I mean, this whole A.J. Brown bit, right? You just now got to cover A.J. Brown and piss him off a little bit, and then the Eagles are going to force it. So that's on my menu. Those games are on my menu. The Cowboys Chiefs is not, but I will say Packers, Lions, Ravens, Bengals. I'm from Detroit. I'm a former Raven. I'm gonna be watching those, and then of course Bears, Eagles. The other than that, you know, I'm gonna have a nice old fashioned. Because I'm bringing because like the thing, I can't go places because I'm going to a dinner, so I can't go anywhere and not bring my own old fashioned stuff. So I got a little box. And it has bitters in it. It has this syrup. It's like this smoky syrup, so you don't have to smoke it. Just, you know, because you don't know where you're going to be. Some people's houses don't have a smoker. You don't want to pull your I have a smoker, but I don't want to bring it and smoke stuff at somebody else's house. But yeah, I got a whole little old-fashioned kit that I'm bringing. And turkey with a little bacon, because there's some bacon. There's a bacon in the stuffing. So a little bacon stuffing with turkey, macaroni and cheese, greens, green beans, potatoes, and then some yams. Like that's my go-to. And the turkey's fried. So I do the fried turkey, and then after a little break, because hopefully we eat early and it doesn't take all day, then at night I'll have a nice little turkey bacon sandwich before I go to bed, and I'll toast it a little bit on both sides like a grilled cheese. So you put a little butter in the pan, toast both sides of the bread with the turkey and cheese and bacon in there. Oh man, it's a great little 9 p.m. 10 p.m. snack. Instead of going back and getting more food, change it up to make it feel like you're eating something different. I don't know, what's on your menu?
I'm eating whatever Michigan Tech is serving. I'm on a hockey trip, so there should be a Thanksgiving meal catered Thursday night. I have no clue what it will be,
Jimmy
but
John's.
I will be eating whatever the St. Thomas hockey team is eating in Michigan Tech.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. I'm guessing you're not pulling for like Packers-Lions. I don't know who you're pulling for. I kind of want to see the Lions win just because I think Vikings fans would rather see the Packers lose. And then you also have the Bears game, and I'm guessing people are pulling for the Eagles. I don't know how that helps the Vikings at this point because the playoffs are all but not. But I'm going to be rooting for Max Brosmer as well on a Sunday. So hopefully you guys have a great holiday, and look forward to catching up with you guys on Saturday and Sunday on the postcast, because hopefully these are two winnable games for the Vikings and for the Gophers, but Seattle, that's a tough one. But make sure you guys subscribe to Locked On Sports Minnesota on YouTube, and have a great week.